Shalom Lekulam, hope you're doing well. Greetings from the land of Israel, getting ready for Shabbat here in the world. Ending off the book of Shemot, the book of Exodus, this week with two portions together, Vayakhel-Pekudei, and really kind of putting a cap on the story of the Jewish people and their journey out of the land of Mitzrayim, of Egypt, and through the Midbar, through the desert. And we've been learning now for many weeks about the Mishkan, and there's a million things to say, and we've said many things in the past. And there's one part that I want to focus on about the Mishkan from this week's Torah portion, because there's so much repetition, there's so much detail given to the Mishkan, and often the question is why. For some people, for many people even maybe, when we get to these Torah portions that talk in such depth and such detail about the Mishkan, it's hard to relate, it's hard to connect. But we're taught on a deeper level that the Mishkan is so important and is given so much space and so much time and so much attention and focus in the Torah, because the Mishkan, this structure, this building, this sanctuary, this traveling temple that the Jewish people had in the desert and took with them into the land of Israel, is like a microcosm of the entire world. Right? We know that it's supposed to be a house for God, a dwelling place, so to speak, for this unphysical, divine source of all life. But it's also, when we look at it, when we understand it, when we learn its details, we can better come to understand this world that we live in. So one aspect of the many aspects that there are of the Mishkan, that later became the blueprint for the temple that stood in Jerusalem twice, is these things called the Adanim. They're these sockets made out of silver. And they were kind of like these sockets that held these wooden planks that surrounded the Mishkan, kind of like the walls of the Mishkan. And the walls were made in such a way that they had these two kind of like things jutting out of it at the bottom, and they fit in perfectly to these sockets made out of the silver. Now we learn in Pekudei about these sockets, and that they came from the silver that the Jewish people gave. Now there's two kind of donations, so to speak, of resources that went to making the Mishkan. One was voluntary, however much you want to give, whatever you want to give. From your heart, give what you want. But when it came to the silver that was used for these sockets, it came from the donation that every Jew was obligated to give. The mechatzita shekel, the half shekel. And there's many beautiful teachings about the half shekel. Why is it a half and not a whole? And the most powerful idea is that when a Jew gives a half a shekel, right, they understand, they're encouraged to understand that I'm not complete. I'm not a complete being and not a complete force in this world without somebody else, without other people, without my nation, without the Jewish people. Right? So this idea of giving something that's kind of broken, that's kind of half, right, teaches us that I'm not full, I'm not complete, I'm not my own world. Right? I need others. I need to be part of a larger community, a larger thing. Right? And that way I can come to shleimut, to completion with myself as well. I give to the community, and the community gives back to me. And the silver that went into these sockets came from the donation that everyone had to give, and the equal amount. It says in the Torah, whether you're rich or you're poor, you gave the same amount. That the rich shouldn't give more, the poor shouldn't give less. Everyone gives the same amount. And there's a beautiful teaching brought down from a Rav here in Israel, Rav Morgenstern, who quotes Rashi, basically saying that the silver for these sockets came from that obligatory donation where everyone gave equal, to understand the following idea. These sockets were like the foundation of the foundation. Without the walls, you have no Mishkan. Right? Without these sockets, the Mishkan doesn't stand. So the very bottom thing, these adanim, these sockets, that are very kind of simple and can overlook them. They can be overlooked so easily, but they're of vital importance, comes from a place where everyone's equal, where everyone's the same, everyone's connected. Right? That the silver that made these sockets that held up the Mishkan, the whole foundation of the Mishkan, must come from a place where everyone in Bnei Israel, everyone in the nation of Israel, from the Jewish people, sees each other as equal. Right? Not richer or poor, more prominent or more hidden, that we're all together on the same level, forming a unified community. And from that place, we can build a strong foundation to the structure that basically represents the spiritual map of the entire universe, right? And whose goal is to bring divine presence and godliness into this world. And those sockets that hold it all up and hold it all together can only come from that place. If it comes from a place of not unified, of I gave more, you gave less, you didn't give anything at all, so the whole thing's unstable, the whole thing can't stand up. And it's a really vital teaching for all years and all generations of the Jewish people, and for all people, But specifically right now we're talking about the Jewish people, the importance of Achdut Yisrael, the importance of unity among the Jewish people. That although we have our differences and our skills and our talents and the things that make us unique, and we all are unique, we've talked about that much in the past, we have to understand that on the deepest level we're all one. We learn from Kabbalah that we're all one soul. We're all different expressions of that one soul. We're all like pieces of the same spiritual entity. Right? And when we can realize that and understand that and bring it into our lives, each one of us, to the best of our ability, we can create the foundation for a nation that will be like the Mishkan, that will bring godliness, righteousness, justice into the world. And that's our job. Right? Just a few days right before the elections, not to get political at all, but it's very interesting that this Torah portion is right before the elections here in Israel. Everyone's got so many different viewpoints and so many different opinions, which way we should go, how we should go, what we should do, what we should not do. And we shouldn't, we can do many things, but among those things we can pray to God that God blesses our leaders to lead the Jewish people here in Israel and really around the world, because Israel influences the whole Jewish world, no matter if they live here or not, to really lead us with righteousness and with tzedek and with justice and with this vision of what the Jewish people could be and need to be. And hopefully one day we will be in shleimut, in perfection and completeness. But really with this idea that, whether I'm the Prime Minister of Israel or I'm someone who no one even knows about, that we're all just playing our role, our part out for the greater good of everyone. It's not really about me. And it's very interesting, and hopefully we'll talk about this next week, but the very next Torah portion is Vayikra. And the Aleph at the end of that word Vayikra is small, right? To teach us this idea of humility. So we're asking God to bless us with a Rosh HaMemshalah, Prime Minister who can lead with strength, with vision, but also with humility. Right? And I think with all those things together, the Jewish nation can really shine and be Or LaGoyim, the light to the nations that we're meant to be. So sending much love, much blessings from the land of Israel for a beautiful Shabbat Shalom and good things for the Jewish people and for the entire world. Shalom.